Good afternoon all. The time is just after 4:15 on Sunday afternoon, and I just thought I would do a wee video. I've not done one for a long time, so there's a couple of things I want to speak about, and we'll go through things step by step. So I'm just using this new thing now with on the phone, the microphone, stuff like that, so I've got a wee bit of lighting to get organised, but I think we're pretty good for what we're going to do just now, so I'm quite happy with that. So I bought myself yesterday this rice cooker. It's a Russell Hobbs. I got it in Morrison's actually, and I used it last night, and it's actually pretty good. But what I've done with it is it says to use, there's a wee cup that you get for measuring your rice, and it says, so if you have a full cup of rice, you have a full cup of water. So it's whatever the proportions are for rice, it's the same with the water. However, I done that yesterday for the volume of rice that we had, and it kind of dried out a wee bit. The rice wasn't quite cooked, but I've used one of these things before, and they're actually very, very good. So it's just a wee bit of trial and error to make sure you get it right. So what I've done is I've got some basmati rice here. Now I was up at my sister-in-law's earlier on, Ardell, and she swears by the Japanese rice. Now the trouble with the Japanese rice is it's hard to get here. You need to buy it on Amazon or probably from an Asian shop that's fairly close by, and I didn't have time to go and have a rummage about. So I've got the Tilda basmati rice. I've washed it, I've rinsed it through, get all the starch off it because it helps to prevent your rice all sticking together and become a big claggy mess. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to get this organised just now. We'll get it set up. I've got 200 grams of rice. There's 3 of us now. 60 grams of rice is probably about right per person. If you want to cut down on your portion size, by all means, but I'm using 200 grams here. I've got 1 or 2 other bits and pieces lying out the now, but I'll come back to them. So I'll get the rice here. I've got as I said, I've went, so there's 2 cups of that rice in the wee measuring jug that you get. So it's coming in about 200 grams. So actually it was 190 or something. So I've made up to 200 grams, but I've went for 2.5 jugs of the water to see how it goes. This time I'm going to cook it. So as I say, it's a pretty good wee machine. You get them different sizes for bigger families or for 1 person or 2 people. This will hold a lot of rice. It's got a function on it where once the rice is cooked, the machine switches off, but it keeps the rice warm for probably 20 minutes. So it stops cooking, keeps it nice and warm for when you want to use it. And I quite enjoyed it yesterday. I put some pilau seasoning through it to have with the curry that we had last night, and it was absolutely brilliant. As I say, the rice was just a wee bit firm, it was just a wee bit too al dente. So I'm going to put I think the weight of the volume dictates the length of time that the rice cooks in the thing. So, but we'll have a go again. As I say, it's a wee bit of trial and error. So, as I say, I've rinsed the rice so the water runs clear. I've probably put it into that bowl there, cold water in, swirl it around, cowp it out, do it again, maybe 12 to 15 times, some water, rinse it out, and then you can actually see the difference in the rice as well. It actually looks different to what it was because most of the starch, or the majority of the starch, is off it. So we'll whack that in here now. Just give it a wee tap down. So that's been draining off, so any excess water has come in. So the water will go in. As I say, that's a wee bit more than what the recommendation was, because it was just a wee bit on the firm side, probably undercooked if truth be told. Got a wee pinch of salt in there just for a bit of seasoning. And that's it. So what you do with this thing is, let me shift this out of the way. It's got a couple of functions on it. So you've got your on off switch at the side here. This button here, when you put the rice on, you turn the power on at the mains obviously. This orange light comes on, you flick the switch to the red light, so that's the cooking light. So when it's stopped cooking, it goes back to orange, flicks off, and that's when it keeps it warm. So we'll get it plugged in. Right, so that's the rice on. That's sitting over there doing its thing. So I'm going to make beef and oyster sauce. Made it loads of times. Normally I would make it with noodles, but we're having it with rice for a wee change. Just because we've got the rice maker, and we'll see how it goes with it. So we're having it with some basmati rice. So I've got 2 packs of fine asparagus here. I've got 3 garlic cloves. I've got 450 grams of fillet steak. I've got a pinch of sugar, pinch of white pepper. I've got 1.5 tablespoons of fish sauce and 3 good tablespoons of oyster sauce. Groundnut oil and a wok, and you need a wooden spoon for cooking it in that. So it's going to be 2 tablespoons of the groundnut oil, but we'll come to that. But I just want to show you one or two things. As I said the other day, I bought the Globo knives. This is the chef's knife. It's a bit longer than what I'd ordinarily use, but I'm going to have a go at it. It looks tremendous. This is the vegetable knife. I used this yesterday and wow, is it sharp. It's this is a proper finger remover, this boy, as the other one is. So if you're going to be using any knives, make sure they are sharp, because you can do a lot of damage with a blunt knife. So you'll need to bear with me when I'm going to cut these vegetables with these knives just now, and I want you just to see. I'm going to be very careful, so I'm not going to be the way I would normally chop, because I'm not familiar with the knives, but I'm going to be using them anyway because I need to start getting used to them. So that's the ingredients that we have for the sauce. I've got 200 grams of basmati rice going there, so when that's all done, we're going to have a nice meal. So I'm going to get to it just now. So what we'll do, we'll place that out of the way, because we're going to do the asparagus first. So I get the asparagus, it's been washed. Take off, I just cut off the ends, like the woody ends. Just take about half an inch of that off. Look at that, bam. Ooh. Razor sharp. So that, I'm going to bin these wee bits here. Just short of them. Maybe a second, and then we'll come back. So that gets diced up. It doesn't get diced up, it gets cut into 20cm pieces. So you just want me probably inch long bits of asparagus. Now any vegetable, so you can do this with broccoli, you can do it with green beans. We like asparagus because we like asparagus, so that's what we're using. So try and keep the tips intact. Let me get rid of that a bit. Keep all that aside, because there's a sequence of putting all this into the wok when you're doing this. So that's that done. So the next thing you've done is the garlic. So you need to bear with me with that, because as I say, I'm going to use that vegetable knife here for chopping this, and I'm not familiar with it, so just bear with me. So always take off that wee woody bit there. You can just give the garlic a bash, and it will come off. The paper will come off, it no bother at all. As you can see, there. So just get your blade under that there and get that papery bit off your garlic. There we go. So normally when you bash it, I'm just afraid to hit the knives. That's one. Get that wee bit here out the road. So we'll get these wee rubbishy bits. So take that off. So I'm going to cut the garlic's to be cut finely. Finely chop it. So just give the garlic a wee bash with the back of your knife, the side of your knife, and that stuff comes off and no bother. But as I say, I'm a wee bit kind of wary with this, just because they're so sharp and they're brand new, and I don't want to go bashing them about the place. But everybody does the same thing to get their garlic prepared. Right now. Right, so that's that out of the road. Let me shift all that. See, I'm going to get myself a wee bit of tissue. Just to excuse me for a second. Scraps out the way. Right, so the garlic is to be cut finely, chopped finely. I always half it in two. Don't know if you can see that with what I'm doing here. Draw a line down the middle, or cut a line down the middle. There you go. That's the easiest way to do it. A lot of guys will just they'll be rocking back and forward with things, and each to their own, but right, so the Thai dishes we've been it's actually I think it's a book I bought at the same time as a Ken Hom book. I like Ken Hom's great, he's absolutely brilliant. But this dish, as I said, we've done this many times. I've actually got this dish up on the YouTube channel, or the YouTube page that I have. So this is going to be a different one. Get your fingers behind that blade as it's coming down there, see? The knuckles. So you don't remove you've not got tips of your fingers in amongst the garlic. I'm being really careful with this. As I said, I didn't want any catastrophes. But once as I get used to the knives, I'll be a lot quicker with the chopping. Chopping like a chef. Magic. Right, so we get that wee bit there. That's us. So that's that. I'm actually going to get another knife out the other side of the unit now, just to scoop that up, because I didn't want to brush that against the wooden board. You might be saying. Right, so we'll put the good knife out the way of the now, and we'll get that bit of tissue paper opened up for all the rubbish. And we'll get that in the bin. So there's some stuff there. Aye, so cooking. I've done a lot of cooking. I'm talking nonsense. I've done a lot of cooking, but I've not done a lot of videos. So it's time to make a wee change and start getting back into things. Instagram, going to start using that a bit more. Certainly on Facebook, that's got, I mean, there are loads of followers and that. So if you do tune into my Facebook page and you watch some of these wee videos, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Instagram, as I say, YouTube as well, as of course. TikTok's a tricky one because I'm not too familiar with TikTok at the moment, but it'll come. So we've got the steak's been out for probably half an hour or so. Always bring your steaks up to room temperature. Now there's a bit of, and the reason for that is because if you put it in the frying pan cold or your grill cold, it'll contract in itself and be, oh, what's going on here? So make sure you leave it out for at least 30 minutes. There's a couple of bits of membrane there that I'm just going to take off with this new knife. So I'll just show you. Well, look at that. I'm sure the dog's through there. He'll be hanging about looking for these wee tidbits, so I'll keep them handy for him. He likes the wee bits. So you cut the beef into thin strips, and I'll show you that just in a wee second once I get that prepared. That bit's alright, that one's fine, so that one's fine, that's okay. A wee bit of fat in that, but we'll leave that there because that gives it a wee bit extra flavour as well, so that's all good. Right, so what we're going to do is to cut these into thin slithers because you're going to flash fry this effectively. Now in a wok cooking is all about cooking very, very quickly, and I'll show you as we're doing the dish anyway. So cut your beef into long, thin, and always cut across the grain of the beef that I'm using, whatever. If I'm doing a stir fry and things like that. So you've got nice slithers like that, look. Like that kind of thing. And it looks great when it's on the plate as well, when you're plating up. So back to the, as I said, back to the cooking. This knife is amazing, by the way. As I say, Globo knives, I keep saying as I say, you won't stop that. No, incredible pieces of equipment. I've had loads of knives over the last 25 years. I've had loads, I've had a few. Probably not had as many as I think, but I think if you get a good knife or a good set of knives and you're comfortable with them. I actually bought a stone, a sharpening stone, because I've got one of these wee things that you drag the knife through, and I've been reading up about them and they're no great. So if you're going to do something, do it right, I suppose. And I bought a sharpening stone, so I'll have a go at sharpening these knives as they start to get used, and they will get blunt, or they'll get dull. They won't get blunt, they'll get dull. So, but you're supposed to sharpen your knife before every time you use your knife, and that keeps it honed. That's what they say, I believe. Because I was going to go to my butcher at Kinnaird, and he says he would sharpen my knives on his butcher's steel, but I don't think they would be the same. The same as what this is. That's a big bit of fat there, so I don't want that, but that's too chunky. Hey, you just too chunky for me. Right, so that's a couple of wee tidbits here for the dog. He can get that wee bit there as well, so just take that wee bit of fat off so it gives him something a wee bit of taste in it. Right, so that's the beef. So that's for 3 years. Ordinarily a steak, the steaks you get in the restaurants, they say 8-ounce steaks, which is about 240 grams. That's a big steak. But if I'm having a steak, I normally have something with 100, 150 grams. That's adequate for me, and that's probably should be adequate for more people, because less is more, and it's all about cooking the steak. So make sure you get the right thing, the right weight. Don't get your greedy. You don't. Well, you can if you like. I mean, you do whatever you want to do, but for me, I'm going with 150 grams each for my wife, myself, and Gabby, our daughter. So that's the beef prepared. So I'm going to just pop that there back onto the plate, and I'm going to get a wee bit of a wash up, and then I shall get back to you. There you go. So that's that. Right, we're back, we're ready to start cooking. Certainly the beef. The rice is just about finished. It's on that warm setting just now. I don't know if you can maybe catch that. Let me just dive through here to you can see if you can maybe see that. Aye, you can see the orange light. See this orange light here? So what happens is when you switch the rice cooker on, it goes to red, that's it cooking. Once it's cooked the rice, it will then switch to that. You leave it at that for 10 minutes. That's just letting it, you're effectively letting it rest. That's keeping it warm. So that rice is done, and I've just tried it. It's amazing. It's looking terrific. Aye, it's lovely, brilliant. So now 2 or 3 minutes, I'll take that off of there. I'll just sit it there to keep it warm, because it'll sit in the bowl. It's nice, it'll keep warm in the bowl. Now, there's a sequence of doing this dish when you're doing the Thai dish. This Thai dish in particular. This is as I say, is the beef and oyster sauce. Now, people say, when is the wok hot enough? So the wok's on, right? So I'm probably have to put this fan on as well. So you'll need to bear with me as I'm talking over the fan. I'm going to get myself one of these clip-in microphones so you can hear me better when that thing's on. So I need to switch that extractor on, because it's going to get a bit noisy. Well, that is a bit noisy. This is going to get a bit smoky and steamy and such like. So there's a sequence of putting the things in. So it's the garlic first, it starts to colour, then it's the beef, then it's the asparagus, then it's the sauce, then it's the fish sauce, then it's the oyster sauce, then it's a pinch of salt and pepper and sugar, and that's it done. Now, people say, when is the wok ready to put? When you're ready to put the stuff in the wok? The wok's starting to smoke now. So we're wanting 2 tablespoons of oil in there. That's 2 tablespoons. I'll get this out the road. I'll get that interfering there in. Give that a wee swirl, just to coat the upper part of the wok. These induction hobs are amazing, by the way, but they've got a tendency to have they're oversensitive for safety, which is a good thing, I suppose. For switching off, which is a pain in the backside. Right, so what I've got is I've got the 3 garlic cloves. That's ready to go. So I'm going to put these in first. If it starts to spark up and carry on, I'll need to put that fan on, which it will do. There we go. So you put the garlic in here. Now I've got this up at medium high. I've got this up at medium high. So that's the kind of temperature you're wanting. Garlic in. You'll see it starting to colour almost instantly. Don't burn it, because if you burn it, it'll be really, really bitter. It'll be unpleasant. Now that's going to get took up with it, so that's starting to change already. Right, so when it starts to change, that's you ready for the next part of your dish, which is the beef. So get that in, get that there. Now, when you're doing this, it's important you keep at it, keep moving it about, because if you don't and it sits there, it can sweat. It'll actually poach. Now you want your beef. I like the beef, no raw, but medium, certainly medium rare. I don't know if you can see that, that's coming along nicely. Now just give that 2 or 3 seconds in there, maybe even a minute to get a bit of seal in it to colour it up. Then you're going to add in the asparagus. Now the asparagus is wet, so there's a bit of water in that, which is going to create a bit of steam, which will help that cook. Now I've got fine asparagus, which is tremendous. Right, so that's got enough colour in that for me to put this asparagus in. Now, as I say, you could chop up broccoli like this, anything you want, any hard vegetables that's going to, anything you like. But as I say, the asparagus that came with the recipe, so that's the one that we're sticking with. So give that a good minute or so, rumbling it about, and then we'll get to adding the sauces in a wee second. So keep at it. Now, as I say, wok cooking it's quick. It's not for taking 20 minutes or to cook dishes. It's for flash frying effectively. Is that hanging off? No, it's not. I thought the cooker would went off. It's not as bad as what I thought. I just put a bit of heat in that, because the pan will tend to, or the wok will tend to cool down when you put things in it. So it's important that you keep the heat up. I don't know if you can see in this wok what I'm doing here, because it looks amazing. So this is for dinner. Right, so that's ready for the fish sauce, which is honking. But you've got to use it. You've got to use it. And just keep moving that around there till all that's covered. That beef, there's a couple of wee rare bits in it. It looks. In fact, can I bring that across like a white key in there? There you go. Look at that. It should look like that. So there's a bit of liquid in the bottom, but that's off the water. That's off the fish sauce, and that's the maybe a bit of water coming out the beef as well. Right, oyster sauce is the next thing. Now, it's the portion that I'm making. I'm actually making a wee bit more oyster sauce, but I've got 3 really good heaped tablespoons of oyster sauce in this. But we'll get it going and see what it's like. Get that stirred through. It smells amazing, by the way. It's actually not too bad. I'll maybe put another wee tablespoon in. Aye, I will. Just because I've got that much, I've went a wee bit more with the beef than ordinarily I would do. But don't overdo it. Less is more. But I knew that I didn't have enough in there. Right, so the next thing is a pinch of sugar. Now that's just to balance the flavours. So there's a pinch of sugar. Give that a stir and about. And then it's the pepper. That's a pinch of pepper. And I always go a wee bit kind of gung-ho with that, because it can be quite fiery. The peppers to give it heat. And that's done. And honestly, this smells amazing. Right, so let you have a wee look at that before I serve it into that dish. That's it there. Don't know if you can see that very well, but wow, it smells sensational. I'm going to have a wee bit of clear up here. Back of the road. That can go there. Right, I'm going to let you see this rice. So that's that done. Time to serve this up. Beautiful. That's the garlic. There you go. Tremendous. Right, next thing I need is the rice. So I need to take that off there, and I'm going to bring this over to let you have a look at it. There we are, look at that. Now, what we're going spatula. I was going to say spatula. Then I go daft with that. Look at that, that's amazing. That is absolutely a good job, Roberto. Just break it up nicely. Aye, that's job done. Right, let me point that in there and let you see this. That's it done. So we've got some basmati rice, steamed basmati rice, we've got the beef and oyster sauce, and we've got some prawn crackers to finish it off. So, enjoy.